All right, so once we're finished, we're going to come in here on the top side, and you have to open up your zipper seam. Be very careful not to slice into your the fabric there. And this seam ripper is dull, so I'm just going to use my snips and cut through this here. As you can see on the top side, this top stitch that I made from sewing the centered zipper is even on both sides. That's because of the way that you set your machine. And it may not be exactly a 1/4 inch on both sides, but that is because I probably did not lay it centered as well as I could have. That's why it's really important to make sure that it is centered. So we're just going to open this up. And if you had a sharp seam ripper, it would just slide right through here. You're going to go all the way to the end. And now that we're back to the end, you can see the whole bag is open, and we'll come back and take out all of those little threads. You have to unzip it to sew it together, because if you don't unzip it, there's no way to get into it. So we're going to flip it. We're just going to flip your bag, and you want to make sure that the opening here is exactly on aligned, and you're going to sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance if possible, but if you did not line your zipper up evenly on both sides, you may have to end up doing a 3/8 inch seam allowance, but it should be a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Here we're going to pin the end together so that this is nice and flat. Pin the other end. And if you want to leave it zipped together to pin these ends to make sure you have them together well, that's totally fine too. I like to trim threads as I go. So now that we have our 2 ends pinned together, we are going to just come around. The nice thing about this cotton is that it doesn't need a lot of pins, this woven cotton fabric. So I just have 2 pins on the edges and 4 around the sides. We're going to place it. We're going to change our foot back to our standard sewing foot, and we are going to place the edge on the 1/2 inch mark, which is between 3/8 and 5/8. Roll our needle down. This is very, very important. A lot of students don't do this part. Don't forget to move your needle over back to where you were. So you need to make sure that you stitch over the end at least twice by back stitching and go all the way off the edge. And then I'm just going to follow along the edge of my fabric on that 5/8, on that 1/2 inch mark there. Removing my pins as I get to them. Walk it around slowly. Keeping your eye focused here on that 1/2 inch mark. And I think I need to adjust the serger a little bit because threads don't look exactly perfect. So when we come back around over here, we are going to stitch directly across the edge, back stitch, sew forward, back stitch. You could also use a reinforced stitch there to make sure it doesn't come apart, but you still need to back stitch it. Now we are almost finished. The only thing that we have left to do is turn our bag inside out. Push the zipper end out. This is nice and straight. And then we'll pull all of these little threads out. And you have a cute little pencil pouch or lipstick pouch, whatever you want to put in it. And then I'll come back and just take all of these out. You can stop it for a minute.